The Tsleil-Waututh Nation, also known as the people of the Inlet, have been in a close contact with their rivers for thousands of years. Not only is the Burrard Inlet a body of water, but it also represents their home, their history, and their duty. However, contamination and climate change issues now act as a danger to this precious location and threaten its preservation.
If we needed to, we could go to any creek on the reserve. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe more than that, and we could just go and just drink right out of the creek.
The community made up by the Tsleil-Waututh Nation has always known that a healthy population is related to good water. They preserved the land carefully, kept salmon populations, and participated in sustainable fishing long before scientific knowledge about ecology even existed.
Is hardwired, I believe, in Tsleil-Waututh people. What you know about the cedar tree and the animals that live around us, and when to hunt them and when to feast and when not to feast, is all a part of that cultural knowledge.
Now, because pollution threatens the Burrard Inlet by a significant amount, the people of the inlet are combining their traditional indigenous knowledge and practices with modern science to help heal the water.
We know more about our land, our territory, than any level of government. How do we protect Tsleil-Waututh rights? How do we protect our title? And how do we be a partnership in all of this?
Their rivers have been damaged and polluted by lots and lots of decades of unconsensual industrial growth. But the people of the inlet are fighting. They are taking back the duties as land managers through habitat restoration, water testing, and legal campaigns.
One of the things that we really look at right now and are really concerned about is climate change and the effects that has on our traditional plants and medicines. Right now, we're faced with, if I just reflect over the last 2 years, with the heat dome, the forest fires, all those things that are happening has really affected our harvesting. The last year, because of the heat dome, a lot of our indigenous plants didn't thrive. It was too dry and it was
One really important initiative that the people of the inlet are taking to ensure that future generations can keep up their sacred connection to the inlet and continue this practice is restoring salmon habitats.
facing the wind. This greater area of the inlet and Indian Arm was known to Tsleil-Waututh people as home. This was all a part of our territory that we traveled and lived and hunted and gathered and celebrated life. Back in the time when Tsleil-Waututh people lived on the land, we didn't have all the modern technologies that we do now, and we really leaned on and still drew from the natural world, and that's abiding by how hunting seasons, how the berries grew, and just the laws of the animals as well that live.
The Burrard Inlet represents so much more than a river to these people.
The Treaty Lands and Resource Department was created in the 90s, mostly through the treaty process with the province. And through that work, we started to really map out our uses of the territory, the different resources that we gathered, where we lived, and just kind of our general uses of the area. And through that work, we realized that our inlet wasn't as healthy as it was before. We weren't harvesting as much as before. People just weren't getting out onto the land and water as much as they were back before industry really started to pollute the waters and the lands of Burrard Inlet. So in my job now, I'm lucky enough to be able to be on the land and putting the nation's face back on our territory through restoration work and protecting the inlet and all the waters and lands that's
For our community. Well, we take that traditional knowledge and we develop a framework, a cultural framework that is going to be embedded in all of our programming to ensure that we're culturally safe, that we're culturally appropriate, in providing programs for our community that are going to make a difference, that are community-based and community-driven.
Much of the development that happened in Burrard Inlet has hardened about 80% of the shoreline. And that was all done without consultation with Tsleil-Waututh Nation. And so now we're kind of going back and we're softening up these shorelines, we're restoring the estuaries, we're bringing back the salmon, we're bringing back...
An idea that is preached by the Tsleil-Waututh Nation is thinking 7 generations ahead. What we do has an impact on generations to come, and this is their whole motto. They're working for all of us, not just their people, to save the Burrard Inlet because of the impact it has.
My main concern right now is, what does the future hold?